Alright, so I'm up here on a tree, and a few of you suggested building a tower, or maybe I did as well, to get a better view of this building here, because the roof is quite nice, and I'm just standing up here and I realize that I don't get a good view because of these trees here, some of the big ones sort of in between me and the base, so I think I'll chop them down, and yeah, I don't know what I can build here. What do you have? Why would I need a tower? What could I put in a tower? I don't know. I've sort of been thinking about it, and I just don't know what sort of tower to build, or I don't know. The only thing I can think of is if it's attached to a bigger thing, like a castle or something like that. But I don't want to be building a big castle, because that would take forever. And I'd like there to be something functional. So give me some ideas for a tower that I could build around here, or maybe a villager thing. That could work. But anyways, just something so I can see that building, that there. And I think I'll just quickly chop down a couple of these trees so I get a better view, and then we'll have another look. Alright, so that is definitely a better view now. Got rid of some of those big trees. I don't know why I get so attached to the trees and want to keep them there all the time, you know. Minecraft is about changing things, and I often don't want to do that. I just want to work with what I have. But yeah, that's definitely a much better view. And I'm a bit annoyed because I've been using this not so good axe, because I had a bit of an accident in the nether, and I walked off a block I should not have walked off of, and ended up in the lava. And I lost my only silk touch pick, and I lost my good axe, my good shovel, and I think a stack of pistons, and yeah, just a bunch of stuff. It was pretty annoying. And the reason I was in the nether was because I've been working on the wither skeleton farm. And actually, I'm going to have to change it to normal render distance, because, I don't know, in this snapshot, or in the recent snapshots, my performance has gone down again, and I can't have it on far view, which is pretty annoying. But anyways, so we're going to go to the nether and check out the wither skeleton farm. And there's basically not some great news about it. I might have to abandon the project in its current form because, well, I don't know, things just aren't going well. So we'll head over there, and I'll show you what I've got so far, and then we'll have a quick look in my single player creative modes, where I've been doing testing, and we'll try and figure out what the problem is. Alright, so yeah, I've been working on the wither skeleton farm, and I destroyed it all again. The shaker design, the floor shaker design, was just far too laggy, and mobs were getting stuck on the floors, they weren't falling down, and yeah, I pulled it all down, and I set up all the cart stuff. So here with the string is like 3 blocks above the track, 1 block, 2 block, 3 blocks, and wither skeleton will trigger that. When they do, it triggers that track to switch, and you can also see this piston here retracts, and then it extends. So what happens is the wither skeleton comes along, triggers this, gets sent over here, the cart gets destroyed by the cactus, and that means the wither skeleton will pop out, and then this piston pushes him down next to this portal here. And I just have 2 portals set up which go into the overworld, and I haven't got all the stuff set up there, but the portals are properly linked. And what happens is, when there's 2 wither skeletons in, the first one will push the second one through the portal, and that seems to work okay. Although, if you remember my blaze farm, you know I was having problems with all the mobs, which I was sending into the overworld suddenly despawning. So hopefully that wouldn't happen here. It's hard to know. But anyways, so that's set up. And then any too high mobs or magma cubes would just go straight ahead, and they go into this suffocation thing here. So they go along the track while suffocating. And then by the time they get here, they would be dead. The cart again goes into a cactus, gets destroyed. If there's a magma cube in the cart, then it would get just killed by the cactus. And then the cart falls down here into this chest here, where it can go into the dispenser, which would put it on the cart and start again. So I have this. I should have this dispenser running on a clock, and that will just keep things ticking over. You know, clock sending it out every so often. Fresh cart, and also when there's we'll go this way. When a cart gets destroyed, after it picks up a wither skeleton, it would come along this row of hoppers and back into the same system. So fairly simple. And yeah. Now the problem is I built all this, then I destroyed all the stuff here because I wanted to put in a more traditional piston pusher design. So the mob spawns, gets pushed over by a piston. And so I needed to figure out what levels I could put the spawning pads at, because I destroyed the original structure here. So I have to go into a creative world to figure out where stuff could spawn again, you know, what levels I have to put the spawning pads. And I believe the original end of the structure is around here. If you just look through the floor, should be able to see. Yeah, there's the original end there. Just cover that back up. And yeah, so you can see I've got the tracks set up from there. And what we'll do is we'll go into the creative world I made, and I'll show you a big problem I found. Huge problem. Like, seriously. Okay. So here we are. Same area, same seed. This is the wall we just looked at. You imagine looking down there, that was the wall. I've just cut everything out using MC Edit, so stuff can only spawn here. And so in Hermitcraft, the rails start around here, I think, and then they go to probably around here. So if you have a quick look here, you'll see that there's a ton of pigmen, there's a couple blazes, and a skeleton right at the end here. And so I'll just quickly set it to peaceful, and then back to hard or normal or whatever. We'll get back 20-something blocks away. Stuff will start spawning again. And the problem I'm getting is that the wither skeletons, there's one there, they're only spawning just over here. Like, they're not spawning past, say, this point. I haven't seen them. I've run this test at least 20 times, probably more, 30. And it just seems to only be pigmen from past that torch. Like, only pigmen there. And it is another structure. They should be spawning there, but for whatever reason, they're not. And I'm pretty sure when I ran this test in the past, I would get wither skeletons spawning all over the place, like on the whole length of the structure. They should be spawning at these 3 levels, where I have that level, and that one. I'll just turn the lights off so more stuff will spawn. But yeah, there you can see there's another skeleton spawn there, blaze spawn there, but just nothing at this end. And I'm not going to repeat this test several times because I've done it already, and I just don't understand. Like, has something changed in the game? You know, look, it's like 95% pigmen. Pigmen. Blazes, wither skeletons only at this end, and they're not spawning over there. So remember, I have my cart system set up from around here to the end. So yeah, probably to around here, just more or less. I'm not sure exactly. But, that means that 75% of it is pigmen only. And that is a disaster. Like, seriously. So, I don't know why that is, but we'll go back to Hermitcraft, have a look at another potential area, and you'll see we get completely different results. Yeah, so again, it's the same seed, same area. I just cut everything else off using MCEdit, and it would mean that, the wither skeletons and blazes would only be spawning pretty much right at this end here. So all of that part of the trap would be useless, and I just don't understand why. So we'll go over to where I had the bigger pads set up, the intersections of the nether fortress area, and that's where you get 19 wide pads, and there's 2 of them, so it's like 40 blocks long, something like that. I have one over there and one over here, and they're both currently disabled. Poured a bunch of lava on them, but you get these big areas. And so I'm going to go back into a different creative world where I've set up a mob spawning system in this area here. So this intersection, again, MC edited everything out and built a trap, and we'll go there now. Right, so this is about where I was just standing in Hermitcraft, and this is where all the lava was, but again, I've MC edited all the surrounding area out, and here you can see I have some piston traps. So these are ones that have string going across, and when a mob spawns, it pushes out this whole row of pistons. So if you just go around here, you can see the string attached to the tripwire hook triggers the redstone up here. And then it goes along here, and there's the row of pistons, which pushes these blocks here, like so. So I don't know whose design this is. I've seen it on several videos. Not claiming it's my own. But, yeah, don't need to go over here. Those are just tests. But the main difference is, immediately we come down here, and you can see, look, tons of blazes, tons of wither skeletons. I'll reset it to peaceful and get rid of all the mobs, set it back to hard or normal, whatever. And we'll just stand over here, and there you can see, oh, some wither skeletons. Not pigmen. Oh, there's a blaze. It's not a pigman. So immediately, totally different results. So, yeah, this is what I was expecting to happen in the box, in the big brick and iron bar box I built. It should look more like this. You should get a distribution of blazes and wither skeletons and normal skeletons and pigmen. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be happening where I actually have everything set up. Yeah, so that's it. If I had built everything here in the first place, I wouldn't have a problem. But I didn't do that because it was too near to a great big landmass, which would be a lot more work to disable all the potential spawning areas by half slabbing them, or by pouring lava on them, or just removing them entirely. But you can see the difference. Lots of wither skeletons, lots of blazes, and an equal amount of pigmen. Equal to the other type of mobs. It's not 95% pigmen. And I guess while we're here, I'll show you this system running and what it should do. So you have the clock here, which controls the dispenser, which shoots out the cart. The cart will go around. It'll go around this loop here, pick up a mob, come back on this side, go through the wither skeleton detector, which triggers the rail. Again, you have the piston, which retracts, pushes back the wither skeleton into this hole here. Cactus destroys the cart. And the other mobs, they go on a suffocation loop here. And they just go around and then they die. And then the cart comes uphill here into a cactus setup, which will kill, well, it will destroy the cart and send it back into the system. And it will kill any magma cubes if they're in the cart. They get killed by the cactus instantly. So I'll turn that on. And it's running quite slow now, because if I run it much faster, then it will clog. But you'll see what happens. And doing this, I found it's best to keep everything flat, because that way it's much easier to stop the mobs from spawning in areas that you do not want them to. Specifically, you can't have carts going downhill. You can only have them going uphill. And that way you can prevent mobs from spawning on the rails. Because if you get a mob spawning on the rail, then yeah, that will just clog everything. So we'll just wait for a few wither skeletons to come through. It's hard to tell what they are, because the pigmen, they look all dark for some reason. Ah, there's one there. So you can see we got sent off into the other direction, and then pushed into the hole there. Yeah. So they're just going around. I don't know why some of the mobs look like wither skeletons, but they aren't. There we go. Yep. And they get sent through. And the first one pushes the second one into the portal, but that could probably be improved. And there's one other major flaw with the system, which might mean I'll have to abandon it completely. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, that could get improved so they don't stock up there, but I'm sure you get the idea by now. Mobs go around. If they're not a wither skeleton and they suffocate, then the cart comes up, gets destroyed, and put back into the system. Obviously, carts which get collected here can get fed back into this system here. But yeah, we'll just leave this running. Or actually, I'll turn off the rail, turn off the carts. Yeah, just see this guy come through here. And this one as well. And yeah. And another one. Okay, and he pushed the other two in there. And he went in too. So we go in here, and you can see big stockpile of wither skeletons. As you might remember in my Blaze farm, I wanted to do the same thing, send them all to the overworld, and they would randomly despawn once they were in the overworld. Like, I'd go to the overworld and expect there to be 100 blazes, but in fact there were none at all, so hopefully that won't happen with the wither skeletons. But the general idea, you have them collecting here, and that way they're not contributing to the mob cap. So you can sit AFK and collect wither skeletons, and then you go to the overworld and kill them all. But now that we've gone through the portal and come back, we can go through here. We'll go around and see. Yeah, here's the problem. When reloading the map, you get mobs which glitch onto the rails. So now when a cart comes along, it will bump into this guy. It won't pick him up. It will bump into him and then travel backwards. So this is a clog right here. This other guy glitched through. That would be a clog. Same with this guy. So that is also a serious issue, and I'm not too sure how to prevent that from happening. Because if I put solid blocks along here, maybe that would fix it. I don't know. But, it's glitchy. So that sort of sucks. I'll just send one cart through, and we'll see a clog. A clog in progress. So the cart goes around, it'll pick up a mob, but when it gets here, it will just bounce backwards. Bidding! That is a system destroyer right there. Yep. I guess there's ways like you get around that. But whatever. Yeah. Cactus farm too. Cactus. Anyways, pretty cool, but yeah, I think I might have to abandon this project, unfortunately. It's just too glitchy, too unreliable. Pretty cool when it works, but a lot of the times it does not work. And the main problem is where I have it set up. I'm not getting enough wither skeletons, so I would have to rebuild the whole system anyways. And this guy's just bouncing back and forth now. Oh, and he's just floating away. Oh, see you later. Alright, enough of this. Alright, so I think we'll end this episode on a slightly happier note, and yeah, instead of ranting about the Wither Skeleton Farm all episode, we'll go and check out the progress on the tree farm. And I completed the rail system, got that all set up, and I planted a really terrible garden at the back. And most of the inside's done. So yeah, I got all these trees now, got a different floor, all these rails are hidden. Well, mostly hidden, you can still see them through the cracks there, but that'll have to do. And then the next one is the oak trees. I've cut down most of the trees there in the middle for some reason. But you can see they all have a uniform sort of look to them. And the main thing I spent my time doing on here is actually in the basement. Oh yeah. So I thought I had to make this all look nice, even though I'm never actually going to come down here. But I don't know, that's just the way I roll. And so I have my cart unloader here. I think I showed this before. But I'll just very quickly show it to you anyways. Okay, so this thing, just very quickly, when you have a cart which comes in here, it will start unloading items like so. So that turns on the comparator, which turns off the rail there. So comparator into torch, this torch here, and that powers this repeater, which powers the rail. So as long as the cart is unloading things, then it won't be moving. And then once it's empty, or once everything's flowed out of the hopper below, then the cart will go on its way again. And I basically have this simple thing hooked up to a dispenser timer. So there's some buttons up there by the doorway, and when you hit them, they power this redstone line, which triggers the repeater there. And I've got a button down here just to simulate that event. So it shoots out an item, and let's see, that would be up. I was going to say off instead of off, but whatever. Turns it off. And yeah, so when the item is on that pressure plate, it powers this redstone line below. And then when the first one disappears, that torch turns on, which triggers the second dispenser, again powering the same line. So it just dips down here to not interfere with this torch. And that one isn't needed for now. So that is how the item dispenser or item timer works. Pretty straightforward, been around quite a while. And that's just hooked to an override for this cart unloading system here. So I haven't figured out what to do after this point. I think basically I'm just going to keep all the saplings down here. Because let's see, how am I going to use this? I'll come in here, chop down the trees, then replant them. And then at that point, I'll leave, or I'll have used all the saplings I need because I'll replant everything. So I guess when I leave, I will want to send all the excess saplings back to the base. So I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work because I'm going to need, God, I can barely speak. I'm going to need to get some saplings, and then as I leave, I want to send everything back to the base. So, yeah, I haven't quite figured that out 100%, but I'm not going to do that right this second. I just quickly wanted to show you the progress on this place. And I built a really terrible garden as well. It's basically a bunch of grass and stuff growing on the floor, some cactuses, which could prove to be quite dangerous. Some wheat, although I just realized the wheat has this brown texture. You know, the soil, the tilled soil. I don't really like that. So I might remove the wheat. I think the problem with this garden is it's all on one level. Like it should be more 3D instead of just a flat garden. Because it's just terrible. Yeah, it took me about 3 minutes to build though, so. Needs something back here. I might not have given it enough room. I might have to extend this back wall. And in a way, I'm glad I haven't put the roof on this part yet, because I think I will extend the back wall just to make a more pleasing garden back here. And that is about it. So yeah, most of the work was done in the basement, just pointlessly making it all look quite nice, because I will rarely be down there, but, you know, it's good to know that things look good under the hood. And, yeah, I can't really show you the rail, but it just loops backwards and forwards. And those lights are there because there's a 4 wide gap there where the whales... Yeah, the whales fit in the 4 wide gap. No, the rails are 4 wide at that point. So spiders would be able to spawn in there if I did not have lighting. And for the rest of it, it's only 2 wide, and then there's a wall. So, or a wall on either side even, so spiders are not able to spawn. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it so far. And hopefully you guys are going to give me some good ideas for a tower, and then I'll get a nice view of it. And that would be awesome. And by the way, that base is looking, or the mob trap there is much better with all the trees surrounding it. Although I might have overdone the trees on this side because you can't really see the building. Anyways, I think that's it. It's getting quite late here. Oh yeah, and if there's any other games you want me to play, then let me know, because I really want some games that I can just shoot through. I know you guys hate Half-Life. No one's watching it anymore, but I got to finish that just because I got so far. I was playing the Game Dev Tycoon demo. That seemed alright. I've got Dead Space 2, because they were on sale recently. I probably won't do full episodes of that. And I guess next thing I'll record is the just me being super terrible at Prince of Persia. But that'll be a one-off video, I think. But anything else you can think of that you'd want to see, just let me know, because... yeah, I don't know, I just need other filler games which I can quickly record, you know, and then I'll release Minecraft every few days. So, yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Oh, yeah, and if you have any ideas, or if you're, like, super good at making banners and stuff, I'm going to be switching over to the new channel soon. And, you know, feel free to try and make a new channel graphic banner thing. Because I am not a Photoshop wizard. Man, yeah. Really can't speak. It's about 4 AM here. Oh. Mob shower. Alright. Yeah. I'm sure you get what I'm saying. Send me stuff. Okay. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.